calling this evening's Village Board of Trustees Village Board meeting to order, October 2nd, 2027. All members are present with the exception of President Johnson, who has been excused. Has this meeting been properly noticed?
Yes, the meeting has been properly noticed.
Great. We're going to go to item 4, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Actually, I would like to remove one item. Do I do that at this time, or? I would like to remove the village board minutes from September 18, 2017, and I'd like to postpone adopting those minutes until President Johnson is back, as there are quite a few changes that I would like to consider making to those minutes, and I feel that his presence is necessary for those. So I don't know that if I can call a motion on that.
You don't need one. Any individual trustee can remove an item from the consent agenda. Your motion now is amended to approve 4 items, 4A and C, and then under item 5, you will have a note. I believe, Mr. Attorney, the chair's discretion to hold an item for a subsequent meeting is adequate without a confirming motion.
So we have a motion. Is there a second?
You had a motion.
Oh, we did. Fantastic. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This passes. And then item 5 would be the deferring.
Oh, go ahead.
Deferring of the approval of the minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I missed that meeting, so I'm just curious why we couldn't discuss changes to the minutes absent one member of this board.
I feel that, well, it was my opinion that I would like to have President Johnson here because I feel that there are enough changes that would warrant his presence here. I wouldn't want to have it twice.
But you would, yeah, I mean, if we discussed the changes and approved them, then we wouldn't discuss it twice. Also, I mean, our next meeting is not for 2 weeks, so it'll be an entire month since the meeting.
Do we need to act on this? Do we need a motion to defer?
I'm just asking a question.
Okay.
I've already answered the question, so I really don't have anything to add to that. Anything else?
Well, Madam Chairperson, if I could ask if you have changes you would like to make, I would, ask you to use the clerk's pre-notification process. So if you could mark up a copy and send that to the clerk, she can take a look at the proposed changes and remind you they have to be relative to actual events at the meeting.
Thank you. I will do that. Okay.
Where's your videotape?
Wait, can I ask a question though? So we established a process, I thought, which if you have changes to the minutes, you send them in after Diane sends it out, and then all the trustees get to see those ahead of time, because if you send out a second version
That's
of
correct.
the meeting.
That's
So
just what I was asking, to use that process.
And I shall do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, great. We will move on to item 6, citizens to be heard. This item is for matters not on the agenda. Discussion may follow. Comment on non-agenda items or discussion and action may come at future meetings. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard this evening? Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if you would please, this is, I'm asking for a brief time. I could have done this under trustee reports, but if you will, I'd like to make a brief statement at this time.
Okay.
I would prepare a statement I'd like to read into the record. On August 17th, 2017, the people of the world and the people in homes across the village of Shorewood watched with shock and horror as neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and nationalists marched through the streets of Charlottesville, chanting hate-filled cries from a painful time in our world's history. We watched, many struggling to speak to their children as peaceful protesters were beaten with bats, as innocent Americans injured at the hands of racists, as 18 were run over and critically injured, and as one young woman who peacefully stood up for equal rights was killed. The pain for many was new, but far too familiar to those who have lived through the most trying and troubled times of our nation's past. The events of that day are seared into our conscience forever. It's also a time when Americans who embody the inclusiveness of our country came together with open arms, embrace, and support. The days that followed were a time where healing and words of comfort abounded, but still needed to be heard. The event of August 18th came just 5 weeks after this board unanimously supported a resolution for justice and dignity. That resolution was an affirmation of our shared values, our commitment to, quote, embrace people of any race, religion, national origin, ethnicity, immigration status, sexual orientation, sexual or gender identity, or disability. I feel as one board member and as a citizen and as a child of immigrant parents very strongly that to truly bring about this change, to inspire and lead our community, we must continue to lead by example and model what it means to be fair and to be a fair and welcoming community. We must remain keenly focused on the vision and compassion that will make Shorewood a village where people are treated with dignity and where justice applies to all, and a place where our children are able to hold their heads with pride knowing that all are welcome. Thank you. Now, you have a copy of this.
Thank you, Mr. Zeller. Is there anyone else this evening that would like to be heard? Okay, so we'll move on to item 7, proclamation for National Friends of Library Week, October 15th through the 21st. I have to pull this up. Okay, no worries. Okay, I guess it's customary that we read the, is there a representative from the library here this evening? Recognizing Friends of the Shorewood Library. Whereas the Friends of the Shorewood Public Library raise money that enables our library to move from good to great, providing the resources for additional programming and special collections, support for children's and teens' summer reading program, and special events for all ages throughout the year. Whereas the work of the Friends highlights an ongoing basis that our library is a cornerstone of our community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past and to the present. Whereas the Friends, understanding the critical importance of well-funded libraries to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print and electronic materials, along with expert assistance in research readers, advisory, and children's services. Whereas the Friends' gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all in how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Village Board of Shorewood proclaims October 15th through the 21st, 2017 as Friends of the Library's Week in Shorewood, Wisconsin, and urges everyone to join the Friends of the Library and thank them for all that they do to make our library and community so much better. Passed and adopted by the Shore Village Board, Walker County, on the 2nd day of October 2017. Do we know about the proclamation? Okay, all right, thank you. And, yeah, it's too bad.
No, that's fine, we'll get a copy.
Okay, fantastic.
Clerk will send them the original.
Or President Johnson. Okay, fantastic. Okay, moving along to new business, item 8A, that's Public Safety Committee, considering ordinance 2085 amending the signage and parking regulations on Lake Bluff Boulevard. Attorney Bear, would you like to speak to this? Or?
Sure. There was a request from residents in the area surrounding Lake Bluff to amend the parking regulations to make them a little bit more user-friendly, if you will, or friendly to the residents, because the parking restrictions didn't have any exceptions in them on days in which the school was not in session, because there was a heightened parking restrictions around all of the schools. So the idea was, there's two particular ordinances that restrict parking. One prohibits parking completely. That's section 500-17, and there's another one that creates a 2-hour limit in very specific subsections of, for example, East Lake Bluff Boulevard, and those are the ones that we were asked to switch. And for example, if we look in section 1, the first change that we made on East Lake Bluff Boulevard North, the old restriction prohibited any parking from North Bartlett Avenue for a distance past Newhall Street of 285 feet between 7:30 and 4:30 Monday through Friday, except for loading days. And we added, or on days in which the Shorewood School District is in session. So it's prohibited when school's in session, and if school's not in session, that parking prohibition is not in effect, and it allows residents there, if they have friends or family over, it gives them a lot more options to park on the street and makes school more user-friendly for residents. The same thing was done to amend section 500-19, which creates a 2-hour parking limit in other areas near and around East Lake Bluff School. And those are the two areas there that are identified in section 2. That's on North Bartlett to East Newhall, and then another area 285 feet west of Newhall to Morris. So that was the purpose and intent of amending. And so we amended that pursuant to the request of the feedback that was given to the police chief.
Thank you. And this was discussed in the Public Safety Committee, and this is an amendment to the existing ordinance to expand the parking in that area that the village attorney just mentioned. There were no other significant changes. And this has been reviewed by the police department, so that all the information in this is accurate, so we don't need to, you're welcome to have questions, of course, but this has been reviewed properly by staff, and it was discussed at the committee level. So we would need a motion before we can have discussion from the board.
Approval of ordinance number 2005, and ordinance amending parking regulations governing parking near Shorewood schools on days when school is not in session.
Okay, discussion? Yes, trustee Wizard?
I have a technical question, and then I have a request. Do we know how many signs will be changed?
That's a good question.
Any idea on the number of signs? There's quite a few, but it's a one-time.
Right,
Switch up.
usually it's in the fiscal note, and I only asked because we were talking about this parking for another issue, and that was one of the things brought up is how much per sign that you have to change. Do we know how much it costs per sign?
Off the top of my head, I do not. I think, if I recall correctly, the discussion was that we would be adding a small secondary sign underneath that said, except
Right.
on school days or
School days only.
school days only. So, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's relatively minimal. And I'd say perhaps, from my recollection, there are less than a dozen signs.
All right, thank you. I fully support this motion, and I think it's, the more convenience of parking that we can provide to the residents when available. I think that's a good thing to do for our village and our residents of it. I have a similar request from a while ago that never quite made it onto the agenda, but it's very similar in nature, and that is we have had requests from residents who the winter parking regulations, exactly the same thing, that it's restricted from this month to this month, you can't park here, but yet the real reason we're restricting it is to snow plow. And so one of the things very similar to here is to change those signs to say you can park here unless there's this much snowfall.
Are you suggesting that we change this? No, that, okay.
No, I
then-
just wanted to mention that it's very
Okay.
similar to this, and I would definitely support that. I'm hoping in future agenda items,
Okay.
I'll bring that up.
Let's bring it back to this. Anything else relevant to this motion that's on the table? Trustee Menta?
I just want to note that we have signage that restricts 2 school days only for Atwater School and for St. Robert's. So this is just bringing Lake Bluff into consistency with other schools in the village.
Thank you. Trustee Maher, you will listen to it? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is any further board discussion? Okay. So I will call to question. All those, oh, this is a roll call vote, that's right.
Trustee Moses.
Yes.
Trustee McCabe.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Menta.
Yes.
Trustee Rosick.
Did I say yes?
I mean, I'm sorry, Trustee Zogan.
Aye.
I'm looking at the thing.
He looks just like,
You look there. And Trustee.
Yes. All right.
If she did dye her hair, we'd look much better.
All right, passes. Okay, moving on.
Lighting extension.
There you go.
Item
That's right.
8B, 1, considering ordinance 2086 banning car-based ceilings.